On tonight's CTV News, a Christchurch City Councillor is defending the time it's taking to rebuild the council's social housing portfolio, and a World War I heritage building is demolished. But who forgot to tell the RSA? This is CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. The Christchurch City Council might be having second thoughts about restoring the city's town hall.
The Christchurch City Council is strapped for cash, which means the town hall's multi-million-dollar restoration could be put on hold. In May, the council were to begin looking for companies to become involved in the over $127 million project, but that process has been put on hold. The council received a bleak outlook on their financial position. Independent auditors Korte Mentha found the council faced a shortfall of over $534 million, which could balloon to $1 billion once the council receives its insurance payouts. The town hall was insured for $69.1 million, but the cost of repairing it has been calculated to over $127 million, something that was committed to by the previous council. Deputy Mayor Vicky Buck told the press the council was fully committed to restoring the town hall, but not all of the city councillors agreed. David East admitted the project sits with an axe over its head periodically. Informal discussions had taken place about scaling back the project, which could see the rebuild of the Limes Room taken out of the equation. Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee has weighed in and believes the council should walk away from the project. The rebuild of the hall comes at the expense of ratepayers, and Mr Brownlee believes it will be competing with the Performing Arts Precinct, which will include theatre spaces across several venues.
A Christchurch City Councillor is firing back after the Housing Minister criticised the City Council yesterday for its lack of progress on social housing repairs and rebuilds.
There's no denying Christchurch has a homeless problem. A 3-month-long CTV investigation recently explored this in depth, discovering young teenagers, adult and earthquake refugees living on the streets. Christchurch City Councillor Glenn Livingston wants the council to consider setting up a transitional shelter for the homeless. However, the Housing Minister says that should be the least of the council's priorities. He says the focus should instead be on repairing and rebuilding the council's social housing stock. Councillor Glenn Livingston has now fired back. He says everything should be a priority, including the homeless.
Homeless and social housing, it's a very thin line. A lot of the people who come into our units were homeless in the first place.
Councillor Livingston says looking after the homeless falls inside his committee's brief. He's hoping to fast-track his transitional housing scheme to next week's Christchurch City Council meeting. To be fair, the Minister did seem open to the idea of setting up the transitional shelter, but he says the council's lagging behind with its repairs.
If the City Council has got ideas around emergency housing, then I'm open-minded about that. I would lay the gauntlet down to the Christchurch City Council and to say that the number one priority for them is to get up to pace on repairing their own stock of social housing.
The City Council owns 2,645 social housing units. 84% of them are open. Councillor Livingston says his council has repaired close to 400 units and is preparing to open brand new units soon.
We've had 12 and we've got another 8 coming up in Knightsbridge Lane. We've also got another 25 out for tender at the moment around 3 different locations. And we're also getting some more closed units open.
That sounds like progress, but the Housing Minister disagrees.
I am saying to them that they need to lift their game around their own community housing, that Housing New Zealand and the private sector is ahead of that.
The Christchurch City Council is dealing with record levels of new builds, from 4 per day to about 12 new homes each day. The Minister says these new builds are putting the system under pressure. His trip to Christchurch has highlighted concerns over the time it takes to get code compliance certificates. He says they're being issued faster, but not yet at levels that would match with the rest of the country. Now it's Councillor Livingston's turn to disagree.
I actually think we're doing reasonably well. We're never going to be perfect. You know, while saying it's never perfect, part of it comes back to homeowners and others too if they don't supply all the information, and we have to put out further requests for information. That can slow the process down.
The Christchurch City Council is currently having its consents department assessed. In 2 weeks' time, IANZ will announce if it has approved accreditation for the council to issue new building consents. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
A community-driven initiative is calling for Eastern suburban residents to give feedback on Eastern Vision ideas.
Rejuvenation of the eastern suburbs, one of the hardest hit areas, is what Eastern Vision is aiming to do. 27 key project ideas are being suggested. The time for residents to voice their opinions is now. Run by former councillor Peter Beck and community activist Evan Smith, the pair have been actively working on the community engagement scheme for more than 2 years. Evan Smith says it's important for the people in the east to have say on the future of their suburbs.
It's important that they have a say in what happens to their communities and what facilities, what amenities might be put in their neighbourhoods. It's really critical that people have some influence over what happens in their suburbs.
Eastern Vision has set up a website, evospace.co.nz, an online space for people to give feedback on the proposals. The Reverend Peter Beck is encouraging residents to get onto the site and put forward their ideas. The $35,000 project has no guarantee the proposals will proceed. That depends on government decisions and other landowners. This also includes factors such as ground condition, natural hazard risk, and available money. Believing for change, Eastern Vision says this is the one opportunity Christchurch has to get this rebuild right.
We want as much feedback as possible because there's no point in even trying to do feasibility studies and business cases on various proposals unless there's a clear community mandate to proceed with that. If people don't want something to happen, it shouldn't happen. It should only happen if there's a lot of backing for it.
The community will have until the beginning of September to give feedback on the ideas. Eastern Vision will then take the public consultation results to the Christchurch City Council and the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority. For the next 8 weeks, Eastern Vision will run workshops around the city to get more feedback, hoping to get as much of an idea of what people want, not only in the eastern suburbs, but across Christchurch. Joelle Batista, CTV News.
The Christchurch RSA is disappointed that a World War I memorial building is being demolished without their organisation being consulted. However, CPIT, who owns the building, is defending its decision.
A row of silent protesters, a last-ditch effort to save this war memorial hall.
We're now to the point where we're demolishing war memorial halls. I mean, that is really quite shocking and appalling.
Last week, the special building was issued with a Section 38 demolition order, and the wrecking ball is now moving in. It was badly damaged in the earthquakes, and its seismic strength is just 25% of the code. No staff or students have been allowed back in for 3 years.
It was considered and costed, but decided not to move forward for economic reasons.
The building is a memorial for the 71 former Christchurch Technical College students who died in World War I. The demolition couldn't be coming at a worse time.
It's very bad timing because it's just a few weeks until the centennial, the 100 years since the outbreak of World War I. And this is actually a shockingly bad time to be doing this.
To make things even worse, the Christchurch RSA says they were never informed about the building's significance. Instead, they were only offered bronze plaques listing the names of students killed in World War I and II.
At no time did anyone tell us that it was a war memorial. We were just advised that it was the Christchurch Technical Institute's assembly hall. The word memorial or war memorial never came into it, and we didn't oppose the demolition because we weren't asked to oppose it.
CPIT has hit back at Mr Dawson's comments, saying there was a consultation process.
We're very appreciative and recognise the sensitive nature of the memorial status of the building, and so during the process of making the decision, CPIT did consult with the RSA.
Mr Dawson says the RSA is now being blamed for the demolition.
We now seem to be coming under some criticism of supporting the demolition of this building, whereas that was not the case. That was not what we said. We said we would not oppose the demolition of a dangerous building.
CPIT has made a commitment to develop a memorial garden within the Madras Street campus in place of the historic hall. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
The Labour Party leader is back in Christchurch tomorrow to announce further Canterbury initiatives. David Cunliffe will announce the latest policy from Labour's Canterbury Recovery Package. We will have more on the announcement in tomorrow night's bulletin. And coming up, a flooding spokeswoman is running for her local community board.
Let's face it, everyone has an agenda. And guess what? So do I. Every week, I'll pick 3 stories that grab my attention. Agenda with me, Brent Goff.
Pestral has the latest technology that repels rats and mice and even helps control cockroaches. Covers walls, ceilings and open spaces. Combines electromagnetic, ultrasonic and ionic technologies. Harmless to pets and people, just plug it in. Order your Pestral rodent-free today. Now $149.90 plus courier. Order within 20 minutes and get it courier free. Call 0800 88 88 44 or go to pestral.co.nz.
Come on down to Ferrymead Golf. Care for a game of paintball? How about some swings on the old driving range? Or on our par 3 9-hole golf course? Test your skills on the mini golf course or have a go at the airgun shooting range. Then relax at the Wow Cafe with one of our super succulent Wow Burgers. Whether you want to perfect your swing or are looking for a fun family day out, come down to Ferrymead Golf, 50 Ferrymead Park Drive, right next to the Ferrymead Heritage Park.
Pestral has the latest technology that repels rats and mice and even helps control cockroaches. Covers walls, ceilings and open spaces. Combines electromagnetic, ultrasonic and ionic technologies. Harmless to pets and people, just plug it in. Order your Pestral rodent-free today. Now $149.90 plus courier. Order within 20 minutes and get it courier free. Call 0800 88 88 44 or go to pestral.co.nz.
Missed a show or want to watch it again? CTV is fitting in with your lifestyle. Be in control with CTV On Demand. Check out our website and follow the links. ctv.co.nz.
Come in and meet the locals at the Bush Inn Centre. Whether it's to grab a coffee on the go or to catch up with a friend over lunch or dinner, the Bush Inn Centre is the perfect place. With our unique range of shops, you'll find everything you're looking for and more. Our friendly locals are always happy to help. We have plenty of parking at the Bush Inn Centre, making your shopping experience just a little bit easier. So come in, meet the locals and shop Bush Inn. You'll find us on the corner of Riccarton and Waimari Roads.
The world has a great deal to tell. Journalists from across the world report on their home nations and the experiences of the people who live there. World Stories.
Jo Byrne, the flooding spokesperson for the Flockton Basin, is running for the Shirley Papanui Community Board.
A well-known voice for flood-affected residents, Jo Byrne, Carrick Street resident, mother of 2 and Flockton resident spokesperson, running for the Shirley Papanui Community Board. Jo Byrne is eager to land the role, wanting to continue to be a voice for her local community.
Well, a couple of friends actually suggested it to me and I thought about it long and hard, and I saw that the week before the nominations closed, there hadn't actually been anybody who put their hand up, so I thought, well, I think I could do a good job of it, so I decided that I'd stand as well. And then I find out we've actually got 3 candidates, so it's great we'll actually have a choice.
When the earthquakes hit, many properties in the Flockton Basin sunk by up to 50 centimetres, making the land prone to flooding. When the floodwaters drove homeowners off their properties, including Jo Byrne herself, the Carrick Street property owner assembled a residents' flooding group. The residents group now has over 400 people. Jo Byrne believes the experience sets her up for a role on the community board.
I've had quite a lot of experience with the work I've done around flooding, working on building relationships with agencies, finding out who's responsible for things and working through barriers to try and make some progress for people.
Persistent for progress, Jo Byrne has a positive attitude towards moving forward. Over the past year, her family and neighbours have had a tough run against the flooding. She is hopeful the best is yet to come.
I can't even believe what's happened this year, on a personal as well as a professional sort of basis. Life changes on an instant, and I think, it's really hard for people, but you've got to sort of embrace change and move forward. There's no point in sitting in despair thinking about the past.
If elected, Jo Byrne says she will do her best for the people in the area and looks forward to the challenge that may lie ahead. Joelle Batista, CTV News.
More than 50 beneficiaries have so far taken up a government offer to move to Christchurch. The cash incentive offered unemployed New Zealanders $3,000 if they were willing to move to the Garden City for work. Social Development Minister Paula Bennett says the 40 men and 10 women have been employed in a range of industries, including construction, transport, healthcare and retail. More on this tomorrow. The University of Canterbury is targeting those people with hip replacements. They found a new way to check for wear and tear. Emma Cropper has the story.
If your hip replacement isn't feeling as it should, local researchers may be able to help. The University of Canterbury has a team working on a sound device that listens to how hip and joint replacements are working.
What we're doing here is we're manipulating the joint. In this motion we're going backwards and forwards, which would be similar to, say, a walking cycle, but only a small part of it at the moment. As that's happening, you can see we've got one sensor attached there at the moment, and we would have more. And we're just listening to basically the noises that we hear from the interface as it interacts there.
It's being tested in the university's mechanical labs at the moment, but soon patients will wear this device for half an hour, testing if their hip replacement is doing what it should.
It's placed on the patients around their hip joint, and they go through a range of motions, which basically move the implant through the range of motion which it would see in normal day-to-day activities. And then any vibrations created are picked up by one or more of these 4 sensors.
And down the track, patients could be wearing these out and about as they run everyday errands.
The idea long term was that perhaps this could be incorporated into some clothing, and that the patient could then wear that for multiple days.
The sensor gives orthopaedic surgeons an insight into what exactly is going on with hip and joint replacements. Wear and tear means they last on average around a decade. Helping check just when they are suffering from wear and tear will be made easier with this test, a more active way than a static X-ray.
The main thing with an X-ray is that patients are restricted to remain in one static position, and it doesn't allow patients to move through a range of motion and actually undergo the same activities which actually cause the implant problems.
If successful, this research could be putting Canterbury University on the map, with these implants potentially being rolled out around the world. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
A new report criticises the Earthquake Commission on the measures used assessing foundation repairs.
If a floor is uneven by 50 millimetres or more because of the foundations moved by the earthquakes, according to the Earthquake Commission, repairs must be made. A report done by the Institute of Surveyors has been released, criticising the way homes were measured to determine if they require foundation repairs. Examining the Ministry of Building Innovation and Employment guidelines, the Institute compared how surveyors determined the level of the tilted floors. The report is highly critical of some practices used in Christchurch. It discusses the disturbing results that assessments were carried out incorrectly by people lacking the surveying skills required. The Surveyors Institute recommends qualified surveyors be used when measuring if legal action appears likely to be taken. One Christchurch resident had EQC surveyors assess his floor, and they found a 40 millimetre bend in the floor. Not convinced by the results, he brought in a private surveyor who determined the bend to be 85 millimetres. The resident is calling for the Earthquake Commission to revise its standards or hire professional surveyors to prevent court action.
The council has been slow to reissue licences to cafes in the city. Emma Cropper has more on the story.
Local cafes have gained outlaw status. Cafes, producers and food suppliers say their food licences expired on the 30th of June, but haven't been renewed by the Christchurch City Council. A concerned butcher believed it could hurt business, as those he supplied to were requesting up-to-date licensing paperwork. As the press reported, several supermarkets and suppliers required current licences to conduct trade. Food hygiene regulations require a certificate of registration before food can be manufactured, prepared, packed, stored or sold, and it's an offence to run a food premises without a current registration certificate. The delay is with the council making a decision on licence fees. A spokesperson for the council's inspections and enforcement unit manager says the owners of food premises could expect to receive invoices in the coming week. If any manufacturers had clients demanding documentation, the council could provide it and show they were still compliant despite their registration expiring.
Still to come, your regional weather update.
Join me, Jude Kirk, every weekday as I share with you some of the best shopping in Canterbury.
Yuck, look at all this moss and lichen. I'm not getting up there, not in these heels. Time to call Mossbuster.
Mossbuster is a no-bleach, non-abrasive, biodegradable solution that has over 35 years of proven results. You can buy Mossbuster online for less than half the cost of other well-known products and can be yours for less than $1 a litre. You just spray it on and let Mother Nature do the rest, or Mossbuster can do it for you. Check out our website or call the Mossbuster crew for a free quote. Mossbuster, 0800 88 1000. Get rid of that damaging and unsightly moss, mould and lichen from your path, drive or roof with Mossbuster. Mossbuster is a no-bleach, non-abrasive, biodegradable solution that has over 35 years of proven results. Mossbuster costs less than half the price of other well-known products and can be yours for less than $1 a litre. You just spray it on and let Mother Nature do the rest. Check out our website to find the best solution to your moss, mould and grime problem. Order online or call us now on 0800 88 1000.
Welcome to Caltex Redwood. We're a family-owned business proudly supporting our local community. We're open 24/7 for fuel and shop goods, and we have an amazing team of people ready to help you. Save at least 6 cents per litre using AA Smart Fuel cards. We also offer great value on our LPG bottle fills. We have a full workshop and Bridgestone Tyre Centre. Our mechanics and tyre technicians will get your car sorted. Caltex Redwood. We're just down from St Bede's on Main North Road. Caltex Redwood. What drives you?
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measuring quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom. 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Hi, Rob Coate-Williams. Join me with Rob's Country every Friday at 7:30 in the evening when I take you out of town and talk about anything this country. Rob's Country, Friday at 7:30.
A new post-disaster building management system is being introduced in the wake of the Canterbury earthquakes.
The red, yellow and green stickers system is known around Christchurch to determine a building's safety. Building and Construction Minister Dr Nick Smith announced at the Australasian Structural Engineering Conference it's time to see the end of the traffic light stickers. Announcing the new post-disaster building management system, a part of this includes changing the colour code to red, yellow and white. Red means entry to the building is prohibited, yellow means restricted access, and white means light or no damage. It's not just for Canterbury. Dr Nick Smith believes looking at building management after earthquake or flooding has occurred is a procedure that should be implemented nationwide. The Building and Construction Minister says we need better systems, stronger guidance and improved preparation for managing building safety after a major disaster. Dr. Nick Smith says it's aiming to minimise risk to people's safety while also enabling communities to recover as quickly as possible in the wake of a disaster.
Avoid tomorrow's traffic jams with tonight's traffic update.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's a few tips. Ongoing work is continuing at the Montreal Street St Asaph Street intersection. Two-way traffic is still maintained on Montreal Street, but there is a speed limit in place, so it may be a little slow during peak hours. Hereford Street is remaining westbound only between Durham Street and Montreal. Durham Street from Salisbury Street to Hereford is one lane and will be slow during peak times. We recommend using Fitzgerald Avenue for southbound travel. Keep up to date on what's happening with the Central City roads. Keep watching CTV News first at 5 every night, and in the meantime visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
Emma's back now with your regional weather.
Good evening, Canterbury. Here's your local weather. Timaru hit 9 while Geraldine and Temuka were on 11 degrees today. Looking now at Ashburton, Rakaia and Methven, 10 degrees. Heading to Darfield, Leaston, Ralston and Lincoln, 10 degrees, and in the Garden City, a mild 10 degrees as well. Over in Akaroa, they had the low of the region on 9. And crossing the Waimakadere River, Rangiora, Kaipoi and can't forget about Amberley, 10 degrees. Heading north, Culverden, Hanmer Springs and of course Cheviot, 10 degrees, and Kaikoura had the low of the day on 9. But what's in store for tomorrow? In Timaru, more cloud and cool breezy northeasterly winds for your Thursday, hitting an overnight low of 6 and a high of 12 during the day. In Ashburton, heavy cloud and cool winds in mid-Canterbury, an overnight low of 6 and 12 during the day. In Christchurch, another day of low cloud and gusty northeasterly breezes are in store for your Thursday, an overnight low of 6 and a high of 13 degrees. Kaikoura, gusty northeasterlies and plenty of cloud about in Kaikoura, hitting 13 during the day but an overnight low of 6 degrees. And in other areas around the region, Temuka and Geraldine cloudy with a high of 13. Darfield and Methven cloudy but only with a high of 12. Leaston, Ralston and Lincoln cloudy, a low of 6 and a high of 12. Over in Akaroa, much the same, expect cloud with a high of 12. In Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley have the high of 13 degrees. Up the top, Culverden, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot, 13 degrees and a low of 6. Looking ahead for Canterbury, cloudy on Friday with some rain at times and fresh gusty cool northeasterlies continuing. Winds dying out and becoming a milder northwesterly on Saturday, with weather remaining mostly fine with some high cloud. Fine and mild on Sunday with sunny periods at first, but high cloud increasing during the day and moderate northwesterly winds. Cold southwesterlies and some brief showers developing at night. Mostly fine at first on Monday, with sunny periods and some cloud and light southwesterlies. It will be colder winds freshening during the afternoon with another period of showers. Also expect snow flurries to 400 metres. Sunny periods and cloud on Tuesday, with moderate cold southwesterlies decreasing and frosty overnight. And that's all for your region's weather. Have a lovely evening.
And that's CTV News for Wednesday. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.